Hi, I'm Ron de Parmesan and you're watching Newscats. Massive protests have engulfed Israel as thousands of citizens have taken to the streets, fueled by a potent mix of grief and anger. The recent confirmation of 6 hostages' deaths during military operations in Gaza has ignited a fierce call for accountability directed at Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Demonstrators are chanting, "We want our loved ones back," echoing deep frustrations over what they see as the government prioritising political survival over the release and safety of hostages. The atmosphere is thick with emotion as protests surge through major cities, particularly in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. Protesters are demanding a ceasefire in Gaza, highlighting their desperation for a shift in governmental tactics amid what many view as a humanitarian crisis spiralling out of control. The backstory of this crisis significantly intensifies the current unrest. On October 7th of the previous year, Hamas launched a sweeping assault on Israel, capturing over 200 Israeli citizens. From that point onward, the landscape of fear and confusion grew murkier, with relentless military operations aimed at securing their release. Families of the deceased hostages are not just looking for answers, they are demanding action from a government that appears caught in a cycle of indecision. The Israeli military's latest offensives in Gaza have resulted in the deaths of at least 11 Palestinians in recent airstrikes, raising important questions about the humanitarian toll and what it means for both sides involved in this escalating conflict. Triggering this wave of discontent was the tragic announcement on September 1st regarding the 6 confirmed hostages. Protests erupted almost immediately, escalating throughout the following days. Demonstrators blocked highways, bringing major roads to a standstill as they reinforced calls for a ceasefire and the swift return of all hostages. By September 2nd, the situation had evolved into a general strike initiated by Israel's largest trade union, the Histadrut, which aims to promote a ceasefire while opposing the government's current military strategy in Gaza. This overwhelming public sentiment leaves Netanyahu in a precarious position as he juggles military objectives and the urgent demands of an increasingly frustrated populace. Prime Minister Netanyahu is facing unprecedented scrutiny as critics assert that he is failing to adequately address the hostage crisis. His administration has largely resisted calls for a ceasefire, maintaining that continued military operations are necessary for national security. However, not everyone in the government is in agreement. Notably, Defence Minister Yoav Gallant has been vocal about his concerns, suggesting there may be potential room for adjustment in military strategy to help facilitate ceasefire negotiations. This divergence highlights the growing discord within Israel's governmental structure, raising urgent queries about the nation's approach to resolving the multifaceted issues surrounding Hamas and the hostage crisis. Numerous groups, including the Hostage Families Forum, have publicly condemned Netanyahu's stance, warning that the time for decisive action is slipping away. The protest movement's impact extends well beyond the streets of Israeli cities. It reflects deep societal divisions and growing unrest. Over 2,000 protesters recently marched through Tel Aviv chanting, "Not my Prime Minister," as they clashed with police and demanded accountability at the highest levels. The ramifications of these protests are resonating through Israeli society as they challenge government policy, particularly concerning military operations in Gaza. Amidst this chaos, the humanitarian concerns regarding continued military engagement become paramount. Reports indicate that over 1 million people in Gaza are currently facing dire needs for food, shelter, and medical assistance, further complicating the ongoing conflict. Many are calling for the Israeli government to urgently consider the implications of their actions on innocent civilians, emphasizing that a resolution is needed not just for security, but for compassion as well. International reactions are also beginning to emerge, with nations around the globe keeping a close eye on the developments in Israel. The United States and European Union have expressed growing concern over the humanitarian situation. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken emphasized that all efforts must align toward ensuring civilian safety, underlining the weight of international scrutiny on Israel's military strategies. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Netanyahu's previous military and diplomatic strategies during times of conflict have come under review, with many critics drawing comparisons to how past administrations dealt with similar crises. As the pressure mounts, The government's credibility hangs in the balance, and many are questioning whether Netanyahu can navigate effectively through the storm of public outcry and international expectations. With demonstrations showing no signs of abating, the spotlight remains firmly fixed on Netanyahu and his government. The political landscape is proving to be anything but stable. Citizens in Israel are increasingly lending their voices to the collective call for accountability. Their demands serve as a sentiment that has resonated throughout history, not just in Israel, but worldwide, when ordinary people demand justice from their leaders. While tensions have reached a boiling point, the true question lingers. Will this grassroots uprising lead to lasting change within the Israeli government, or will it fade into another moment of history? It's a living, breathing saga, constantly unfolding, with room for more twists and turns. So, Meow, what are your thoughts on the need for accountability from leaders in crisis situations? Share your opinions in the comments. And while you're at it, don't forget to like and subscribe to catch all the latest updates on this evolving story and more. You won't want to miss what's happening next in this gripping narrative. Meow, I'm Rhonda Parmesan, and this has been another Newscat special report. Thank you for watching, and don't go far because another breaking story is right around the corner. Meow!